Well, guys, in this episode we are going to be talking about a lot of the big secrets within Rucoy Online. They're not really secrets, but this is like the secret lore of Rucoy that you didn't really know about. Of course, there is no story yet to Rucoy, but we don't know all the secrets, and we don't really know, like, I don't know, I'm just trying to say, like, you can kind of build a lore out of, like, just what this world has to show you. So, obviously, what starts you out is a dock. It sure looks like one, or it looks like a little fishing outpost thing. But you can definitely say boats could probably land next to this, and you could definitely get here, and you could walk around, and then you could explore. Now, the real question is, why is there such a destroyed path here? At one time, I'm guessing, when they like settled here, they probably built a path to go to the main city, if that would be the reason why. But another real question is, why would there be so many rats around this region? Rats don't normally like live in the forest. They usually end up trying to get next to houses, so why are they not flooding the city? Well, you can definitely walk near the city, and that can be why the rats would go there. As for why there is massive, weird places where there's just trees, I cannot tell you that. Because that would be stupid. Why would they not cut down all these trees? There'd be no way if this was a real city. Next, though, the reason why there's so many rats here is because usually when ships travel from large cities to other places, they have rats with them. So one case could be that the rats just came overseas from a boat. Why would the boats be coming here? To transport people like you who came here, and to transport goods, because, believe it or not, the Rucoy Online city has no farmland. There's more to develop from this, like as I'm gonna continue telling you guys. But yeah, you can definitely tell they have chopped these trees down. This was once probably a large forest. They chopped all the trees down that they could, and they probably built their city out of this. Why do they have a well here? Maybe they planned some outpost here once, but trashed the idea of it. Another thing to notice about the lore of Rucoy Online in this region is just that they decided to cut down a large forest, build a path through it, and build a city. So this is really how they built their city, the first colonists who decided to come here. Obviously, this city is in a shitty position, so they decided to probably move, and that's why a lot of other structures were built. How there's water here is another question I do not know. And why they have a fence going south. What is south, we'll never know until GM Rucoy opens the gate, which he probably should. But let's look at their beautiful sewer. Oh. How is this a sewer system? How does this work? There's got to be some pretty polluted water in that sewer, in that like well. This is not a sewer that would work in this time. And plus, it's made out of pure metal. This is a pretty high quality crappy sewer though. How is there metal in this timeline when they can't even build like good housing? It's just like, what? I don't know. This sewer though would not be able to support the city very well, but it would probably be able to support their one well that they have going full time. It wouldn't be a very good tasting water. You'd probably get killed from this. Life expectancy in Rucoy Online, this city would not have it very well. But I think all imports of food would be from the sea. All imports that go to the supply merchant and that go to other people, like the gear merchant and the vault merchant, who kind of rule this society. They're the only ones with houses. Everybody else is just cramped up in this crappy little house that's right next to the prison yard. They don't even want you here. But yeah, they tell their citizens to live in the streets. This would be a terrible place to live if it was real life. But that's some hidden lore. They'd all be living in a third world country. I'm surprised that they wouldn't have more houses built up by now for their citizens, but they don't. But if Rucoy Online was a real country, it'd be a third world country where the rich live well and everybody else lives in the streets, forced to help the bank merchant make more money. It is a pretty screwed up society when you look at it. We have all this money, but they're not allowed to purchase land. It's just kind of like, nope, you live in the trash. You can sleep on the benches. Next part about the lore is what they did when expanding east. Well, obviously they chopped some trees down again. It sure looks like they decided to just get a big open clearing here. Probably just to like get resources from like their ponds, maybe fish here. That's probably why they would build paths out in this direction. But they probably also built out here. Why would there be so many birds out here, you might ask? It's because there's ponds. Ponds usually attract birds just because they like to like look around ponds for like bugs. And since there's like lily pads and stuff, I could see why there'd be a lot of bugs in this region. So yeah, there'd probably be a lot of bugs out here. So that's probably why the birds would come here. But why would they be building a city out here, you'd ask? Well, they probably did build this eventually, and then they just got attacked by goblins for some reason. Where would goblins normally come from? Well, in mythology and stuff like that, goblins are usually like underground species. So we could guess that whoever owned this house at the time the goblins decided to rise up and overtake the town were not in a very good predicament, because I'm guessing the goblins already had a pretty well-developed underground society going on here, and when the humans moved in, they decided to say, fuck you, and took it over. We can kind of gain a little bit of information about this just because of all the skulls around here. There was definitely a war between the goblins and the humans that decided to live in this region. I'm guessing that the Rucoy people decided to come here, and then the goblins came from the underground and overtook their village and decided to just make it their new home. So the goblins did that, and I don't really know what else to say about the goblins. They're kind of just the end of an old civilization, I'm guessing. And now I'm going to do a little bit of lore about why the wolves would be in this ugly-looking cave thing. Wolves usually don't come from but they do live in caves. They don't really come from the underground. They do live in caves, but this whole wolf pack down here, I don't know how it would survive in this region, if this was real life. Obviously, there's many birds up here, and wolves could probably eat the birds. But other than that, it would probably keep the bird population down, and I don't see how that many wolves could thrive. But then again, everything respawns, so it's all just, it is a game, but if it was a real-life world, I don't know how the wolves would survive here without even being destroyed by the humans. It'd be pretty hard for them. So I don't think the wolves would survive that much longer if this game was in real life. Next, the desert. The lore about the desert is that it's kind of weird because there's grass right next to the desert. But this could have been probably like, I don't know, an ocean. Maybe it's just a sandy bay. Then again, there are cobras here. It's definitely a desert. Why worms live in the desert beats me. But there's scorpions, there's cobras. And the whole lore about the desert really makes no sense if I was to make one. Maybe it was a region once with large farmland, possibly. Or maybe it was just cattle that roamed these regions. And maybe one day the water just dried out in this area and just made it an arid wasteland. That's my guess. Or maybe the humans made this land a farmland. And then one day like a dust storm or something like that came over it. And they never had the resources to fix it. So this whole region kind of just turned into a desert. That could be one possibility of the lore if this region was real. But that would be my guess. Next would be this building over here. Since it's made out of this really clay-like sandstone, obviously this area was like sandy for a long time. Would the humans have built this? Possibly, possibly not. But if there were humans out here, like in the Rucoy timeline or Rucoy lore, they probably only built this one structure and whatever else was down here. This was probably like a large like burial site, I'm guessing, and then all the mummies somehow came to life from probably the disgusting sewer water. Probably had some radioactive stuff that made them come back. Some Walking Dead right here. But I don't know, that'd be the only lore possibility for this area. Next on our list for lore in this game would probably be the Assassin's place. It has a decent amount of lore of why there would be assassins up there. Most of the assassins probably wouldn't be all assassins. They'd probably be a lot of thieves up there instead of assassins. But if this was real life, I could see why there would be a lot of assassins up there. Now, why there's a large hedge maze? Again, the lore is questionable. If you were to build a lore, I don't know. Why would there be a hedge maze up there? Tell me in the comments. Did the humans decide there was no other better thing to build for their city aside from a hedge maze? Possibly. Or maybe this is just a really strange region built by the goblins at one time. Actually, that makes more sense now that I think about it. The goblins probably came from this area and decided to just overtake the city. But who knows? Why the assassins would be in this region would probably be because the assassins like to hide in areas not many people would be at. And this would probably be one of those regions. Not many people would come through here. And if you were a thief or an assassin, this is probably the place you'd come. Because the city already doesn't care about you. So I'm guessing if you were a criminal, they'd probably just hang you in this timeline, considering they don't even give you proper housing. The underground would be the same type of stuff. It was probably occupied by goblins or built up by the assassins or thieves. Kind of like tunnel systems, you would guess. But let's go to the cool part about this dungeon. Obviously is the castle. And the castle region of this for the assassins, why would it be there? If this was a real world scenario, or real life, what would the lore of the castle down here be? It's not taking me in the right direction. Why does it keep going that way? I don't know. Probably because that's the only way there. I don't know. But let's go over here to the castle. I think I'm going the right way, I believe. Yeah. Again, this whole area would just be tunnels that go to the zombie place eventually. But why would there be this utopia in the middle of this tunnel system, this underground world? Again, it would probably be because of the goblins. And then once the assassins and the thieves got here, why do they have water? They probably just get it straight out of the river and the stuff around it. This would probably be a better place to live than the actual city, to be completely honest. Way better maintained. They have a proper burial site that is well maintained. They have, like, just overall a nicer city than everybody else in this land. I'd rather live here than the Rucoy city, to be honest. At least here they give you houses. Obviously, they have a lot of dead people because they're thieves. They probably go out and get a lot of kills, and they probably have to bring them back here. Or maybe a lot of their own die in battle. They probably tried to farm down here at one point and failed. Giants, are they real? We don't know in the Rucoy world, but possibly. This was like a great goblin. I don't know. Overall, I'm just making stuff up, of course, but I'm just messing around. This cool-looking castle was something that would have to be built by the assassins themselves. I don't believe anything like this would be down here. But then again, it is similar to the Goblin Village in design, so possibly these people came here and decided to be thieves after the goblins went to the overworld, or maybe these people were always living in the Goblin Village to begin with, and when it was overtaken, they came down here to where the goblins hid or something, and they decided to just live here. Or maybe it was the humans overtook them, and then goblins moved in, and then something cool like that. Another big secret about Rucoy, since I'm not really naming secrets, but I'm more like the secret lore behind Rucoy. But one big secret would be this. I don't really know where this goes to, but it'd be cool if like this was a portal and like how do you get here would be kind of cool. I don't know if there's anything about that, but it is weird that there's just a random portal in this room. Maybe it's some kind of evil thing from the Goblin Age. I don't know. Something random. Overall, this video makes no sense to begin with. But yeah, here's the part 1 of the secret lore behind Rucoy that you didn't know. I'm probably going to make a part 2 of this if you guys want it. Again, it makes no sense, but I'm just guessing off of what would be the lore based off of the hints we get in the region. Of course, there's no way to know what the lore of this game would be. I sure wish one day the game updates and adds lore, but again, I don't really know if it ever will get a lore. But yep, that's my guess. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next video. Peace.